following segment is sponsored by Portland Rescue Mission.
Welcome back to AM Northwest. You know, the Portland Rescue Mission helps men and women shed their addictions and start a new life. Let's meet Chad and Israel, part of the Sober and Thriving Hood to Coast team, who found the Portland Rescue Mission at their lowest points and received a second chance.
Running has become like a mental relief for me. It's become physical training, which is challenging, and also just helps me stay focused on a goal and giving back to others as well.
Running for me, I reflect a lot from where I used to be to now. It's a mental thing that challenges me. The finishing goal is just actually doing it, and didn't think I would be able to do something now. Like always running away from my problems, I don't have to do that anymore. So running, just a lot of reflection in there.
Growing up, there was a lot of relational trauma. There was a lot of separation from my parents. There wasn't a lot of emotional support, so probably a little bit of neglect. There was also divorce at a very young age. I was about 7 when my parents divorced, and that can be very shattering to a family.
Parents were together, but my dad spent most of his time working or drinking. So when they got divorced, when I was like 19, that's when all the trauma happened for me. And that's when I went down swirled into alcohol, got introduced to meth, and it was just a way to cope with all that brokenness that I was going through, because I felt like I was being lied my whole life with them being together. I
found myself looking for comfort in other things besides people or my parents. So that's when I started experimenting with drugs and alcohol.
The first time I had to drink alcohol was, I would say 6th grade, 12, 13 years old with my dad.
I was probably 10 when I used marijuana for the first time, alcohol around the same age, and then became recreationally using it regularly, probably 13.
Going to jail just got me deeper into, so where I'm come from, there's a lot of gangs. That's where I just felt, not where I felt I belonged, that's where I wanted to belong, because I was getting that love there. So going to jail just made me more and more draw me towards that gang life.
So I was in and out of jail from like 28 to 30 in Hermiston, Oregon. And then I was in jail in Umatilla County Jail. And I finally just kind of came to terms with like I needed change in my life. I admitted that I had a problem, I needed a new direction. Portland Rescue Mission was the only people accepting inpatient treatment program participants. And so it was the only door open for me while I was in jail. And the counselor and I got the application, filled it out, and I applied. And about 30 days later, Portland Rescue Mission employees actually drove to Eastern Oregon to pick me up straight from jail and drive me over to the program. It just shows the grace, the compassion, that someone would take the time out of their day to give someone like me a chance. And so that's kind of what I try to give back now, is giving people the benefit of the doubt, giving people chances, taking risks, because people's lives are worth the risk.
2021, my grandpa passed away, and I was in the middle of my addiction. The worst part, I was an IV user. But before he passed, he always mentioned, Israel, if you want to change, you need God. I was down and out, staying in my car, dealing drugs in another state, because I was from Eastern Washington, staying in Eastern Oregon. So my family would go months without knowing where I was at times. So that last time I went to jail, I was at my lowest, didn't have nothing. The clothes that I went to jail with, my kids were with me, they were with family members. So sitting in jail, hearing my grandpa's voice saying, Israel, you need God, that was like my turning point for me.
When I first went through the program, I kind of joked and said, you know, it'd be kind of cool to work here. And so a couple years later, I have the opportunity to come back and work for Portland Rescue Mission. And to make that transition, it really gives me a sense of purpose, and I find joy in being able to give back what I've been given, which is a life sober and thriving and in recovery.
It was overwhelming, something not used to, since the lifestyle I was living was the opposite of what the harbor provides, which is love, grace, compassion, kindness. All this stuff that I was living was the opposite of.
Well, so we were in Umatilla County Jail when we first met. We didn't really meet each other, but we kind of met in passing.
My dad picked me up at jail, took me to the harbor, and Chad was the one that opened the door for me at the Portland Rescue Mission. And that for me was a God moment.
I go out the front door and there's Israel with his dad. And I was like, I remember you from jail, I think. He's like, yeah, your brother told me about this place and that you were here. So it was definitely not a coincidence. Sober and Thriving is our Portland Rescue Mission Hood to Coast team, where we are raising funds and running for a purpose. We are raising funds to help with our supportive programs, shelter, meals, to men and women in great need in Portland, Oregon. Well, Israel's my best friend, and I know he likes running, and we've been training together for another race. And I just was like, hey, we have open spots. Do you want to raise some money and come run Hood to Coast with us?
This is my first year, so what I'm excited about is running to help them raise money to give back to the Portland Rescue Mission, and also show people with that there's a way, there's a better life. We met in jail, crossing paths, so be able to do this in a positive way and tell people there's a way to do things in life and recovery.
We're all running a race, and this race, this life of recovery, this life sober and thriving, is like a race. So we need our time to ourselves and solitude, but we also need community and camaraderie. So we work together to reach the goal, but we do our own part individually to be part of that team. When I see people change and I see people take a hold of our Portland Rescue Mission's hand and let us walk with them at a pace they can sustain, I see a life transformed right before my eyes, and it brings me immense joy.
What an incredible story. Here to share more about Chad and Israel, we welcome back from the Portland Rescue Mission, Leah Hay. Good to see you again.
Thank you,
that is so powerful. What are your thoughts on Israel and Chad and what you know about them? Because Chad works at Portland Rescue Mission. He said very proud of it, which is awesome.
They're both incredible. We have a team of incredible people, so we're just highlighting just two of the stories today. And I think what really touches me about their story is the relationship that they have with each other.
Right.
And they both talk about the isolation and the feeling of being alone and unwanted when they were younger. And then the love and the acceptance that they felt at Portland Rescue Mission, and then they gave that to each other. And they didn't mention this, but since graduating, Israel has gotten married and had a baby.
Oh, wow, that's so great.
And Chad is the godparent to that child. Wow. So they've been able to form a family with each other that they have always wanted. And now, out of an abundance of the love they've received, they are giving it back.
That is incredible. I mean, that says a lot about the Sober and Thriving team.
Yeah.
And your whole team is made up of people like Chad and Israel and volunteers, you said, right?
Yeah, volunteers and a few staff members. I mean, everyone who, it takes a village to come along somebody and surround them with and equip them to get them from the place that they were to the place where they are now today. And everyone gives back in different ways. You know, Chad works with us, and he's great at what he does now, walking alongside the men that are, you know, coming before him. And Israel leads the Celebrate Recovery group. He serves in his church. It's a natural extension of pouring out after you've received so much.
Right. And they're an example of what can happen, and also they're helping the others coming behind them to make sure that they also stay drug-free, off the streets. And you're doing it in such a great way, because it's not just getting people off the streets, it's making sure they stay off the streets and they stay sober.
Yeah, and that giving back piece really cements that recovery, right? It creates a new purpose for your life, Right,
and they're overcoming so many challenges, which is fantastic. In this effort to do that, I know the team is hoping to raise $50,000.
$50,000. Every runner is doing their fundraising on their own, and we're here supporting them and cheering them on. They want to raise the money for the recovery programs that change their lives, so that more people can receive the same thing that they have.
And Panera is helping out as
well.
And
Panera is our premier sponsor for our Hood to Coast team, so thank you, Panera, and share the dough.
Given the carbs that we need to keep going.
That's right. Got a carb load before the race.
That is fantastic, and I love their stories. We want to tell folks, if you would like to help support the members of the Sober and Thriving, raise $50,000 to help men, women, and children facing homelessness and battling addiction. All you have to do is learn more about Portland Rescue Mission's Sober and Thriving team and how you can help. All you have to do is head to our website at katu.com/AMNW. Leah, thank you for all you're doing.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. All right, we'll be right back with more AM Northwest. Don't go away.